Low salt potato chips. Hello there, and thank you for checking out this video. If you have a low sodium diet and you've ever looked around in the potato chip aisle at the grocery store wondering what you could safely eat, then this video is for you. Because we're going to be talking all things sodium and potato chips. If it's in the potato chip aisle, there's a good chance we'll cover it today. And to begin, let's start with the basics. One serving of chips is 15 to 20 chips. On average, one serving of plain potato chips contains 150 to 200 milligrams of sodium. One serving of plain corn chips contains 170 to 220 milligrams of sodium. And one serving of plain kettle cooked chips contains between 90 and 190 milligrams of sodium. And these are all plain chips. Flavored chips, on the other hand, average between 200 and 250 milligrams of sodium per serving. So, in general, if we have to choose between plain or flavored chips, the safer bet sodium wise will usually be the plain chips. And if we have to choose between potato chips, corn chips, or kettle chips would usually be the safest bet. That being said, none of these numbers are satisfying for me. My sodium limit is 500 milligrams per day, so all these numbers cut things kind of close, especially considering that it's very easy to have more than one serving of chips per sitting, let alone per day. Thankfully, though, there are two different kinds of healthier options. These break down into lightly salted options and no salt added options. First, let's explore the lightly salted options. In general, the lightly salted option will have roughly half the sodium as the regular option. Take Pringles, for example. Regular Pringles have 150 milligrams of sodium per serving. The lightly salted Pringles have 70 milligrams of sodium per serving. So the lightly salted option is a viable and smart choice for a low sodium diet. It just comes down to knowing what our personal sodium limit is and then working within that. And the good news is that there are more lightly salted options readily available out there than ever before. So we do have variety. And to that point, here's a few examples. First, we have Lay's Wavy Lightly Salted, 60 milligrams of sodium per serving. Next, we have Giant Eagle Classic Lightly Salted, and that's 75 milligrams of sodium per serving. Then we have Cape Cod Kettle Cooked Lightly Salted, and that's 60 milligrams of sodium per serving. Then we have Wise Golden Potato Lightly Salted, and that's 80 milligrams of sodium per serving. And then, like I mentioned, we have the Pringles Lightly Salted, which is 70 milligrams of sodium per serving. And these are just a few of many options. Like I said, they're popping up all over the place at grocery stores now. So I hope you're able to find something healthy for you that you also enjoy. Now, when it comes to no salt added options, on average, they still contain between 5 and 30 milligrams of sodium per serving. And that's the same across the board for potato chips and corn chips. And it just comes down to the amount of sodium in the base ingredient. Nonetheless, this is very minimal, and no salt added options are a very good thing. The only problem is that no salt added options are harder to come by. In fact, I think they're harder to come by now than they were in the past. And my thinking on that is that they don't sell that well, so stores don't stock them for very long. But I could be wrong about that. That being said, I do have some examples to share with you. The first I have for you is the Utz no salt added, which is 5 milligrams of sodium per serving. These are like my gold standard. They taste great, and currently they're the only option that I can easily find. Next, we have Garden of Eden no salt added, and that's 0 milligrams of sodium per serving. This is one that used to be in the Giant Eagle that I go to, but isn't anymore. Then we have Zocheadle, I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong, no salt added, which also has 0 milligrams of sodium per serving. Same thing, I used to see these in the stores that I go to, but I haven't seen them in about a year. And then we have Terra no salt added sweet potato chips, and that's 10 milligrams of sodium per serving. These used to be my gold standard, but same thing, I can't find them anymore. And lastly, we have Kettle Brand no salt added with 2 milligrams of sodium per serving, and I can only find these online. But just like the lightly salted options, there are more no salt added options out there. Unfortunately, they're not as easy to find as the lightly salted options. Of the 5 that I mentioned, I would hope that you should be able to find 1 or 2 of these in a grocery store near you. But if not, then if you have access to the internet, you could always check there too. So, we have the averages for regular chips, and then we have information on lightly salted options and information on no salt added options. Next, I want to talk about good outliers. That is, regular chips that are below the average sodium limit. They aren't labeled as lightly salted, but their sodium levels are very friendly. And here are 3 that I found. First, Late July brand. The regular brand has 70 milligrams of sodium per serving. And then Giant Eagle tortilla chips, 80 milligrams of sodium per serving. And then lastly, even the Utz regular potato chips, even the regular style, has 90 milligrams of sodium per serving. I'd go for the no salt added option every time, but 90 milligrams is still very surprising, pleasantly, for regular potato chips. And I'm sure there's more of these outliers out there. And I think it's a cool thing that they exist too, because it's like a reward for searching. You know what I mean? It's kind of like if you turn up enough seashells, you're eventually going to find a crab. So it just goes to show, like, look around and you might be surprised what you find. Next, let's move on to pretzels. First thing I want to say is that the average serving of mini pretzels, for example, is 19 to 20 pretzels. On average, one serving of pretzels contains 250 milligrams of sodium. So this is typically higher than all the chip brands and stuff that we covered so far. Even the unsalted brand of, say, Snyder's mini pretzels, unsalted, still has 90 milligrams of sodium per serving. And I really don't think it used to be like this. Like, I think that was a recent change. Because I remember, at least I think I remember a time when the unsalted brand of mini pretzels meant that it had 0 sodium. Nonetheless, I found out the hard way one night by wolfing down a ton of these, thinking that they had basically no sodium in them, and then waking up the next day with extra fluid. So beware, because in the case of pretzels, or at least the mini pretzels that I've seen, no salt added means 90 milligrams of sodium per serving. And it's not just the Snyder brand. I checked the Giant Eagle unsalted brand too, and it also has 90 milligrams of sodium per serving. So keep an eye out for that. Don't get bit like I did. Next, I want to briefly talk about pretzel bites and pretzel thins. Each of these have at least 250 milligrams of sodium per serving or more. Like in this case with these jalapeno pretzel bites, that's 420 milligrams of sodium per serving. That's almost my entire daily intake. So when it comes to pretzels, I haven't found a lightly salted or no salted option that works for me. But maybe your stores have better variety. And again, I wouldn't be surprised if the internet has options. So if you love pretzels, don't give up because you could probably find something that works for you if you look hard enough. And when it comes to potato chips, corn chips, and even pretzels, outside of everything we just discussed as far as healthier options, there's also the homemade option. Homemade potato chips simply require potatoes, a mandolin, an oven, or a stove for deep frying. The good thing about it too is that the homemade option is overall healthier than what we would find in stores, and we can let our imaginations run wild as far as the seasonings go. Homemade corn chips are even easier to make. You can grab a pack of tortillas like these, which have 5 milligrams of sodium per serving, cut them into triangles, and then bake them or fry them. And as far as homemade pretzels go, that process is a little more involved, but it can be done with a few simple ingredients. And I'll post links in the description to a low salt pretzel recipe, as well as low salt potato chip and corn chip recipes. Lastly, I want to talk about the fun random stuff in the chip aisle, like the novelty snacks and the stuff that's like hard to categorize. And what I'll do is I'll run through a bunch of these real quick and just give their sodium content per serving. So first we have veggie straws, 280 milligrams of sodium per serving. Next we have bugles. I used to love bugles. 320 milligrams of sodium per serving. Then we have Andy Capp's onion rings, 500 milligrams of sodium per bag. Number 4, combos, 310 milligrams of sodium per serving. Next, we have Chex Mix, 370 milligrams of sodium per serving. Number 6, Munchies, 230 milligrams of sodium per serving. Number 7, Funyuns, love Funyuns, 280 milligrams of sodium per serving. Number 8, Smart Food white cheddar popcorn, 200 milligrams of sodium per serving. Number 9, Takis Fuego, 420 milligrams of sodium per serving. Number 10, Takis Blue Heat, 180 milligrams of sodium per serving. And look at the difference there between the Blue Heat and the Fuego. That just goes to show that there can be varying sodium levels between different flavors of the same brand. So watch out for that too. Next, we have Cheetos Cheese Puffs, 200 milligrams of sodium per serving. Cheetos Flaming Hot Crunchy, 210 milligrams of sodium per serving. Gardettos, 310 milligrams of sodium per serving. Picnic, I remember eating these as a kid. 75 milligrams of sodium per serving, not bad. And last but not least, Max Pork Rinds. I like pork rinds. 150 milligrams of sodium per serving. So that's everything I have for you today regarding low salt potato chips and all things related to the potato chip aisle. When I first started eating a low salt diet, I thought chips were basically off the table, but thankfully they aren't. So I hope this was helpful and encouraging to you for your low salt needs. And if you have any questions or anything you'd like to add, feel free to leave a comment. Thanks again for watching, and may God bless you in Jesus' name. Take care.